It's that time once again for this podcast staple, predictions. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 26 of Under the Middle Rope. I'm your host, Jose Taboada, and yes, it is our WWE Clash of Champions predictions, where every WWE championship is on the line. A unique pay-per-view, because it feels like we should see every championship on the line. And I say that in the discussion, so you will hear me repeat myself, but it's true. A unique night for WWE, and of course that means the Under the Middle Rope Championship is on the line again. And weirdly enough, for the third straight prediction show, Nick Charlick, who is our Under the Middle Rope champion, is not here with us. He had to go, like RJ, go into his car while he was at work and give his predictions, which is hilarious enough that somehow we have champions giving their predictions in parking lots in their cars. But you know what? They get it in. That's what counts. Pete Atkinson, RJ Stacy, they're our guests for today. They're here with us. And once again, it's time to see who can come out on top with our predictions. Because, of course, as always, a new champion tends to come out of these things. So, Nick, you had a great run. Of course, if Nick wins, then this is very embarrassing. But I'm excited. They're excited. So, the only thing that I can say is just sit back, relax, and enjoy our Clash of Champions predictions. Hey everybody, welcome to the discussion. As always, Pete Atkinson to my right, and below RJ Stacy. Everybody's back. Of course, the one person that is missing is the champion, which has now been a recurring theme for the last three predictions shows. So hi gentlemen, how's it going?
Good. It's kind of just like the champion just gets to stay home sort of thing. It's like a champion's advantage.
I was an honourable champion. I turned up every single time.
Didn't you show up with a coin though?
Jose was only champion for 1 week, so he doesn't count for him.
I was champion for a full-length pay-per-view month. Thank you very much, and the inaugural champ, mind you. What was that about the coin, RJ?
I said, didn't Pete show up as a returning champion with a coin though? Like, come on.
I don't think I was. No, I wasn't champion at the time.
Oh, that's good. I beat the coin, so that's all that really matters.
We all beat the coin. Everybody beats. Is the coin making a comeback today?
Whoa! You did not all beat the coin. The coin came second.
For sure, I just beat the coin.
I was gonna say, in that predictions contest, the coin came second. Do not even say that you all beat the coin.
All right. So yes,
it's not coming back. It feels like it's a big four pay-per-view. It doesn't. It only turns up. It's the Brock Lesnar of this podcast. It only turns up for the big four.
I like the card this week, though.
Yeah, it is a very entertaining card. Of course, like I said in the open, it is Clash of Champions predictions. Every championship on the line, which does kind of make it a unique night. I know it's like technically like a B pay-per-view, but every title on the line kind of feels like it should happen every pay-per-view. So it's nice that this happens once a year by default. Now, of course, just before we do make our predictions, like I said, good old Nick Charlick isn't here. He's unfortunately had to work. So, like the past two prediction shows, he did send in his picks. So, gentlemen, are you ready to see what he's picked for the pay-per-view?
Sure.
Let's do it.
All right. Nick, here we go.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's me, Nick Charlick. You're Under the Middle Rope Le Champion. Sorry I couldn't be with you on the podcast today, but unfortunately I've got to work until 8:30 and I'm just about to start. Right, I'm going to keep this, excuse me, really brief because I've only got 4% battery left and my phone's about to die. Right, so first up, Lashley v Apollo Crews for the United States Championship. I'm going to go with Bobby Lashley to retain on this one. He's only just won the title. I can't see him dropping it back to Crews immediately. I think he's going to get a pretty decent dominant win. After that, I'm going with, so we've got Street Profits v Andrade and Angel Garza. I'm going to go with the Street Profits to retain again. I think they kind of teased Andrade and Garza breaking up, and I can't see them winning the titles off the Street Profits. I think from the way they've been booked, they might feud with Retribution and they could lose the titles to them. After that, Hardy v Styles v Sami Zayn in a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. I'm going to go with Sami Zayn to retain. Sami Zayn to win the title. He never lost the title. I think he's been really good since he's come back to TV. And I think he'll have a decent little run, which he didn't get last time because obviously he was off for so long with the pandemic. So yes, Zayn to win. Keeps Hardy strong, doesn't get pinned, loses in a ladder match. Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro versus Lucha House Party for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. I'm going with Nakamura and Cesaro here. I don't really care about Lucha House Party much at all. They've kind of teased their little breakup. Not interested, usually skip through it. Nakamura and Cesaro to retain. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler be the Riot Squad for the Women's Tag Team Championships. I'm going for the retention. I'm not going with Nia and Shayna. Again, they've only just won the title. I can't see them losing them back so soon. So they're going to retain, I think. Bailey v Nikki Cross for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Again, I'm going for another retention. I'm going with Bailey. I think Alexa's going to get involved somehow. Maybe cost Nikki the match. Bailey's obviously going to hold that title until Sasha comes back. I hope they hold off on it till WrestleMania. I don't think they are. I think it's very likely she returns in the next couple of weeks because WWE don't like doing long-term booking. So Bailey to retain. Next up, Roman Reigns versus Jimmy Uso or Jey Uso, possibly one of the Usos, for the Universal title. Reigns easily. This has been the most interesting thing on SmackDown. I'm really intrigued to see where they're going with this. I think they go for one or two ways. Either Roman just absolutely squashes him and destroys him straight away, or they have a bit of a competitive matchup, go for the respectful handshake at the end, and then Roman murders him. But yeah, Roman to retain. And then finally, Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton in an ambulance match for the WWE Championship. I've gone back and forth on this one again as I did in the last one, and I'm still not sure this is what I want to do, but I'm going to go for Randy Orton purely for the fact of the stipulation. I think Randy can win the title. Drew doesn't get pinned, still looks strong. He can win the title back later down the line possibly. But yeah, I'm going with Randy to win the title because I think they're going to set up him versus Edge probably for WrestleMania, and I think Edge might return and win the Royal Rumble. Again, sorry guys, I couldn't be there. Sorry, it's a bit brief. Good luck, and I'll catch you all down the line. Cheers. Too sweet.
Okay. Thank you, Nick. Of course, I did ask him to provide a tiebreaker, and he didn't, which is exciting. So thank you, Nick, for really playing that champion's advantage role and waiting to hear what we have to say before we get that tiebreaker. So of course I'm going to get that to you at the closing of the show when I wrap through all matches. Any comments on Nick's picks, gentlemen? Pete, RJ, anybody?
Very interesting.
Yeah, interesting. I think we'll
There's a couple that might differ.
Yeah, I think when the matches come up, I'll be able to explain my differences. Absolutely.
There's some of them I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, even like as we're watching, some of us were reacting to some of his picks. So Nick,
I did agree with some of the things you said though, so I'll get to that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I agreed with a lot of what you said.
Yeah.
I will say I gotta love the standard of recording your predictions in the car. I'm a huge fan of that. So let's
was he in the mall parking lot also?
Yeah, I think he was. All right.
Okay, keep down.
Yeah, I know. As soon as I saw the car, I'm like, oh, that looks familiar. But of course, RJ got it in, and good on him and good on Nick. And away we go. The United States Championship: Bobby Lashley, Apollo Crews. It's a feud that's been going on with the Hurt Business for a little while. Of course, with Cedric Alexander now joining the Hurt Business to make it interesting. And of course, it barely feels like it's been a United States Championship build due to the fact that we have Retribution, who has been unveiled this past Monday on Raw, to much of the pleasure of everybody, mind you. And then they're not feuding with the Hurt Business. So this kind of feels like a little bit kind of just thrown in there now, especially, how often we get used to seeing the United States Championship on the pre-show, and it's not. Kind of makes you wonder where it's going to go. So I'm going to go with Apollo Crews. I'm going to start off with that. I know I'm already differentiating for Nick, and the only reason why I think it's because of Retribution that's going to get involved with the Hurt Business to cost Bobby Lashley and give Apollo Crews the title back. So RJ?
Yeah, so I disagree with that. I think Bobby Lashley wins this pretty convincingly. The Hurt Business is, in my opinion, probably the best thing on Raw right now. They're crushing it. Like they look good. They come out in the suits. They look like they mean business, and I kind of like this weird tweener kind of build they have here, where they are heels, obviously against Apollo Crews, but they're also kind of fighting off Retribution. But they're doing it they're doing it for the money. It's a business. It's the Hurt Business. So I kind of like that gimmick they got going on there. I really hope they don't just job Cedric out every single Raw, like it seems like they're going to, because they don't want anybody else to eat the pins. But I hope they stay strong in that. But anyways, back on this match, I do think Lashley moves on to maybe even fighting somebody in Retribution for that United States Championship. Maybe it's like Dijakovic or somebody like that who might be behind one of those masks. I don't even know if they stick with whoever's back there. But I think that the U.S. title stays on Lashley here, and I think it might be pretty convincing. And like you said, this kind of starting to feel like an afterthought. So I think this is definitely the last match between the two of them.
It's funny. I was like, can we even call him Dijakovic now? I mean, like,
Or
don't
was he
they have-
T-Bone or something like
Is
that?
that what that is? I don't
T-Bone.
know.
It's T-Dog or whatever.
It's not
Or
good.
what was the other one?
Snap, crackle, and pop.
Snap, Grapple, and
It's been. I mean,
Slapjaw or something like that.
Slapjack.
Slapjack.
I'll just say this before we get to your pick, P, because I hate guys, you know me, I hate like diverting, but I think it's just really important to bring up that this whole thing, in my opinion, this whole thing has just been. It feels like it's going more and more off the rails with this retribution angle. The unveilment just felt anticlimactic. I don't know what you guys think of it, but to me, it's just like, good God, guys, what are we doing? It just, I don't know. I don't think it's working. I don't think it's clicking, really. But
I kind of like, yeah, it's not working, but it's stupidity, which is why it's not working. Like, if they just called them Dijakovic, Dio Madden, and if they just used their actual, it's Shane Thorne, I think the other one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do we know who the third guy was? It looked like it might have been Shane Thorne. Yeah,
I think it was Shane Thorne. But just call them, even if you want to shorten it, Thorne is a fine name. Just use that. Call him Dio. Like, why we call them Slapjack and Mace and T-Bone?
I don't.
It's
know.
honestly like a 7-year-old boy wrote it. Just suddenly went, yeah, that's great. Let's go. But it's almost what I was calling for, was finally reveal some of your big members and put them in the spotlight and that. But then you just mess that up as well, and I don't care. I just don't care about it.
I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with what I told somebody on Twitter. Is that, like, you know, with this angle, you had a really big opportunity to bring back some of the people that were let go in the massive releases a few months back, and the fact that you dropped the ball on that, it's like, oh man. I'm like, I think somebody else on Twitter was telling me, imagine if it was somebody like Rusev, the Good Brothers. I'm like, yeah, that would have been huge, but you know, those are also people that don't want to come back. So I mean, they also piss off a whole bunch of people.
I'm fine with it being NXT guys as well, but I still think they need a big name leader at the front of it, just someone with that already established star power.
Yeah,
and that at this point, I think that's almost the only thing which can redeem it, which is horrible to say at this stage. But
when Nexus made their debut back, did Wade Barrett have that sort of star power? Like, I wasn't really following it. Yeah,
he didn't, but they were very quick to establish their characters. And when they did it, like, they started off and went, these 7 people from NXT, whatever, this is who they are, this is their character, this is why they're different, etc. And they gave them their names. They didn't call them Slapjack.
Yeah, for sure.
But they let them establish themselves as proper characters and straight into the main event scene. Like, okay, it didn't go well after that, but you had Wade Barrett going straight into fight and take out people like John Cena. And yeah, they were dominant together. They had their unique movesets. They looked convincing. Each person in that team was different. I haven't seen that at all with Retribution. At the moment, it's still basically nameless goons because their names are worse than being nameless.
Yeah.
So
fair point.
I don't know.
We do got to move on. Just want to
Lashley Cruz, right? Speaking of
let's go to your pick. And I think it was important.
Speaking of things that nobody cares about, nobody but Paul Heyman cares about Apollo Crews. So he is not winning this match. Bobby Lashley is winning this match. I didn't want them to just do. Do you remember, like, a while back on Raw where they stopped the rematch clause because they were listening to the fans and trying to, like, help us out, and like Triple H came out and did that big spiel where they pinned it all on Corbin and said no more rematch clauses, and now everyone just gets rematches because reasons.
Yeah,
I missed that. Like, at least do Lashley versus Ricochet. Like, what was wrong with doing Lashley versus Ricochet and delve into, like, Ricochet Cedric a bit more and build that story to mean something? I don't care. Lashley's winning.
I'm gonna stick to my pick. And I feel like I've already lost, so we're just gonna continue and just let me have this one. It is the Raw Tag Team Championship. The Street Profits taking on Andrade and Angel Garza again. As Nick was saying in his predictions, Garza and Andrade have been leaning more and more towards a split. Zelina's barely in the picture now. In fact, of course, she has that championship match with Asuka at Clash of Champions. So this is kind of just, again, it feels like, once again, somewhat a bit out of place. And so I'm going to, weirdly enough, again, I'm going to be different, and I'm going to say Andrade and Garza. I don't know why. I feel like this is a night of upsets. I feel like this is going to be a night where,
Is that an upset?
Hmm.
in a sense, because like there's
Has Jose just died there?
oh, what happened there? Everybody cut off for a second.
I had you cut off for a second.
Yeah,
I was still moving.
I feel like
fine.
me and Pete could have had a conversation there.
I think that might be in your end, Jose.
I'm hardwired. I have like an Ethernet. Anyways, whatever. As I was saying, I feel like they could come on over and like despite their problems, come out to pull out to win. And I kind of like similar to what I was saying at SummerSlam. It does feel like the Street Profits time is up with the titles. I know it's weird to say because there are very long championship reigns like the New Day with the tag team, but I don't know. It just feels like this is it for the Street Profits. Again, this may shoot me in the foot, but RJ.
Yeah, so I think this is also I'm taking them too. I think this is where they're going to get the belts, in my opinion. I feel like they have been teasing it, obviously, but I feel like they've just kind of teased it to the point where it's just not going to happen yet, and they're just going to work through it and win these titles. I think Zelina kind of separating from them. I think it might get to the point where maybe they win the titles without her, and then she fails on her own, and then she comes running back to them, and they don't want her back, and then they kind of move on without her. I think that might be possible, and then they tease that maybe she was the reason for their tension. So I'm going with Andrade and Garza. I wanted them to split up, but I feel like if they were going to, they probably should have already, and I think that they're going to get a tag run here. So I'm going to go with Andrade and Garza.
Pete,
I honestly thought they did split up a week ago.
Same.
And then they seem to get back together, nothing issue. And I just don't care again. And I'm going to get this theme quite a lot on this pay-per-view. I think some of the builds and some of the matches and that I think are so non-interesting. I think there's a few that definitely are, but most, and this is one of them. They've had 12 matches in the past. They're going to have 50 more matches against each other either way going forward. Andrade and Garza just need to either get their shit together and be a great team that they can be, or just break up and start fighting already. I'm fed up with this in-between bollocks that they seem to be doing. Of it, I don't care. I'm going with Andrade and Garza as well. I'm hoping it's the first one. I hope they finally do form and become a fantastic team together. And this is the chance to put the belts on them. They're two fantastic in-ring performers. Like, this match could be great. I'm not denying that, but just the build and all this stuff again, it's just crap.
So far, I mean, we do have we could be in a tiebreaker situation with RJ and P, but Nick and I have differentiated. Of course, Nick picking Street Profits, which is interesting. And I feel like we're all going to be unanimous here on the next one. It is the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. Cesaro Nakamura, Lucha House Party. I believe it was a few weeks ago or last week on SmackDown where the Lucha House Party got a pin on Cesaro and Nakamura in a non-title match, which, of course, as soon as you pin the champion in the magical land of kayfabe, oh my goodness, you get a title shot. So here we are now. And again, I feel like this is going to be too easy because why on earth would you? Well, I mean, I guess there are reasons to see the Lucha House Party with the titles, but I don't see that happening. So I'm going to go with Cesaro and Nakamura because, yeah, why Lucha House Party? Pete?
Yeah, well, before we started, I was on about like just the match we've just had on SmackDown, which was Metalik versus Cesaro, and it was fine. The match was going fine, and then they had the most stupid finish I can really remember of Kalisto getting up on the apron and telling Metalik how to hit a move that he'll have hit 18,500 times in the past perfectly, and suddenly he's the expert telling them not to do it, and that cost them, and you get like a sneaky roll-up pin or whatever. I think he just ended up losing normally, but just that type of thing. It's just a lack of logic in this build entirely on that side. But unless it actually pull the trigger of Kalisto or Metalik turning, nobody cares about Lucha House Party. So Shinzaro are going to return.
RJ?
Yeah, again, like Pete said, like there's not really a reason to care too much about this match. Could WWE do something just stupid and just like put the title on them anyway? It wouldn't really surprise me that much. They've done it before. But Cesaro and Nakamura should obviously win this match. Is Kalisto going to turn heel at some point? I don't even care if he does, really. I mean, like, is that what they're building to? Like, is that even a big payoff? I don't know. Just keep the belts on the champs here, and let's move on, please.
All right, so let's jump ship here. I kind of agree with you guys. I think to Pete's point, I should say, rather than like so far, It feels like there's a lot of blend to the matches. This one may have a little bit of intrigue to it. It is the Women's Tag Team Championship. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, the most unlikely duo, taking on the Riot Squad, Liv Morgan, Ruby Riot, and it's not that bad of a team so far, I should say. And of course, Riot Squad earning the opportunity as for after beating the Iconics, which forced them to split up, which everybody loves that decision. So here we are now, and they have been building again for the most part, interest like fairly well. Of course, Nia and Shayna showing absolute dominance. Like Nia slamming Lana through a table, bless her soul. Again, this also feels like another predictable win to me because I don't see the Riot Squad taking down a team of Shayna and Nia, so I'm going to go with Nia and Shayna. I feel like just for size, athleticism, it feels like a no contest, one of those no contest looks. So I'm going to go with Nia and Shayna. Pete?
Yeah, I'm going to sound like the most depressing person ever on this podcast. I promise you, there's 3 matches on this card I really do care about. This is, again, not one of them. I just don't. I hate Nia and Shayna as a team.
Really?
It doesn't make any sense to me. When they first formed up together, literally they were the last 2 people who should have become a team. And I hate the logic of I hate these people more than I hate you, so we're going to team up together. These 2 people should be, even Nia Jax, kayfabe wise, they should be focused on Asuka. They should be wanting that singles belt. That's where they should be focusing their attention on. And them to like forming a team because they hate each other, but they want the women's tag belts. Why? As you said, Zelina Vega just asked for a match against Asuka and got it. You're Shayna Baszler. Go and ask for a match against Asuka because we'd actually care about that and that'd be great. So why are they in this feud? Like, I love the Riot Squad. I love Shayna Baszler. Nia Jax can bugger off. But I can't see them dropping the belts here at the Riot Squad. Not yet, anyway. Maybe down the line if they build them up a bit more. But I'm a bit worried that Liv Morgan is going to actually die in this match. I think they might. I think they might absolutely destroy her in the ring, and then I'm a bit worried Nia Jax might actually kill her. Like literally, I'm very concerned.
All right, so we got a murder, ladies and gentlemen. RJ.
Yeah, so I actually kind of like the 2 of them together, but once Pete breaks down the whole like why, it makes it seem a little stupid. Because like, why are they the tag team champions? Like, why are they not wrestling Asuka? Like, I understand, but I do think that I don't like Nia, but I do think that Shayna's kind of helped bring out a little bit of personality in her.
That's true.
With her kind of just like going crazy when they want to be like, yeah, I thought that was kind of funny, like very like Kane and Daniel Bryan sort of almost. Like I'm the champions. So I think that it could work out okay. And I do think that they're trying to push the tag team women's championships as something. So they wanted to get 2 of their bigger stars to hold them after Bayley and Sasha had them. Regardless, though, I'm far from a Nia Jax fan. I do like Shayna. I don't mind the Riot Squad, but this just is like so predictable that why should I really care? Like Pete said, but I do think this has a little bit better of a build just because they kind of built Liv or Ruby trying to get Liv's, get back on her side and trying to earn her trust again. So I felt like they were leading to some sort of tag title build, but they have no chance of winning this match. This is Shayna and Nia for sure.
All right. Well, yeah, so far a fairly unanimous build except for 2 matches, but this is where we should really, really be on our toes here. It is the Intercontinental Championship, the triple threat ladder match or triangle ladder match if you want to be fancy and go back to the old days. Sami Zayn, Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles. Of course, Styles was the Intercontinental Champion. Hardy surprisingly wins it off him on an episode of SmackDown, and then out of nowhere, Sami Zayn comes back for the first time, appearing for the first time since WrestleMania. And of course, as soon as the pandemic hit, Sami was, one of the people that opted out to stay home for safety reasons, rightfully so. He had the Intercontinental Championship at the time. Title was relinquished again because they wanted the title to be active on a show in the midst of all this. Sami comes back saying, hey, what are you doing? I've never lost a title. Very, very traditional heel. Now he's claiming that he's the Intercontinental Champion, which, of course, fair point. And, of course, all of this led to now a triple threat ladder match. Definitely, I think out of all the matches on the card, this is probably the one that has the most intrigue to it. This is this sounds incredibly exciting. These are three athletes that can definitely perform very well, like especially Jeff Hardy, who we all know has his history with ladder matches. So this one, I've been on the fence for a while. I know Nick picked Sammy. I'm gonna go with Jeff. I think I'm gonna go with Jeff to retain here. I know it sounds weird because Sammy is just such a strong guy right now with this whole thing. But I like Jeff. This is his environment. He loves to jump off things. He likes to ignore the fact that he's high up in the air and just fly away. So this is just time to shine again. And I feel like this is where we can see Jeff really be himself, because I know that a lot of people want to see Jeff perform at his best, and this is where he can do it. So I'm gonna go with Jeff Hardy. Pete.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the three matches that I am looking forward to. This is going to be great. Like these three in a ladder match. Obviously, Jeff Hardy's got a history of ladder matches, and he's probably the worst of the three, which is saying something. Like AJ Styles is just unbelievable, and I think back to like his TLC match and stuff that he had with like Dean Ambrose. That was unbelievable.
That was an amazing match.
Sami Zayn basically carried that 6-man ladder match at Mania. Like him and Owens basically carried that match, and you know he's going to just do some crazy stuff as well. What I'm just hoping is they do let Zayn wrestle, because obviously before he left, he was kind of just running away heel manager almost. I know he had the Intercontinental Championship, but even you look back at his match with Daniel Bryan, he spent basically 10 minutes running away from him. And I don't want to see that Sami Zayn, but I do want to see Sami Zayn win this match, and I am going with Sami Zayn. And I'm hoping they're going to give him the mini push that he had before he left. And if they let him actually wrestle, even as a heel, it's fine wrestle as a heel, cheat and stuff, but actually make him a competitor rather than a coward. I can see some kind of thing at the end where Jeff Hardy does like some stupid swanton bomb off the ladder, takes out him and AJ Styles, and Sammy just sneaks up and grabs the belt. That's the kind of thing I'm picturing, and that's why I'm going with Sami Zayn.
It honestly feels like Jeff's gonna do something with the LED boards that are in the audience with the crowd. He's gonna do something out there.
Let's not.
Something.
Yeah, he's gonna dive into like a little box of pyro and just. I'm kidding. I don't hope he doesn't die. RJ, I know we could. RJ.
Yeah, so I pretty much have the exact same finish as Pete was thinking of. I think Sammy should win this match. I'm hoping he does win this match. I do think that any three of them could conceivably win this match. I do want to see AJ maybe move on to a Roman feud at some point in time, sooner rather than later. So I'd rather see him not win the title. And I do just think like it doesn't need to be Jeff that wins this match. I do think that Sammy could really use it to get hot here. But like Pete said, I want to make like this is going to be a telling match to see how much Sammy can kind of go and do in the ring with his injuries. Because like he said, like Pete said, he wasn't wrestling at all. Like he won his Intercontinental title because Cesaro and Nakamura won it for him. And now, it'll be very telling to see what he can do. But he had a competitive match on SmackDown. So I'm very optimistic that they will let Sammy go full tilt here because this match could be really good. And I really hope I'm not disappointed because I have actually been killing to see a good ladder match. So I am excited for this one. This is the top match that I want to see this weekend. So give me Sammy.
Okay. I thought we were all going to be different. Once again, I'm in the complete minority, so I am worried.
No, I was on the fence there, Jose. To be fair, I was on.
Okay.
I could have gone. I could have gone with all three of them.
I could see any of these guys winning.
Well,
yeah, I think that's definitely not a clear-cut match. Like,
I think I just want to see Sammy win. So I'm going for it.
I think that's kind of the same with me. I feel like the best booking going forward is with Sami Zayn winning this match, and as I know WWE, that's not what they do.
All right.
So.
Okay, you guys have comforted me. You guys have comforted me. Stop it. Just stop it. Let's. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Of course,
I'm still an idiot for picking Cruz.
Yeah, I know. I could look like the most brilliant, smartest man in the world and picking people like Jeff and Apollo, but maybe most likely not. Let's move on to the SmackDown Women's Championship. This is an interesting build, not necessarily for the two people facing each other, but their stories like behind them. Of course, Bayley and Nikki Cross, they're going at it again. I believe for the first time since Extreme Rules. I think that's when they had their last match.
No,
but
they had
both
one on SmackDown, didn't they?
Well, I'm talking about for the title, but
no, I thought they had another one since then as well. Didn't they have one on the SmackDown straight after Extreme Rules?
Did they?
I feel like
I
Nikki's
don't
had
know.
multiple chances at this title.
Yeah,
Lord.
well,
Yeah.
here's another chance for her. Like I said, both of them have very intriguing stories behind them. Bailey, of course, finally turning on Sasha, and I swear that was a recurring theme on this podcast. When is she gonna do it? Is she gonna do it at SummerSlam? Is she gonna do it at Extreme Rules? Is she gonna do it at WrestleMania? Or SummerSlam? Blah 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 blah. I messed up my talk there, but she finally did it on a random episode of SmackDown. She beat her to a bloody pulp, not bloody, but like beat the crap out of her, and of course. Me, the optimistic fan, was saying, perfect. She is brutally injured, which means she will not show up until the Royal Rumble in January. Because she had her neck she got her neck crushed. She was getting beat up on her leg. She's injured. Perfect. She's hurt. Get her out. No, she shows up the next week on SmackDown, only to receive another beating, which is great. But so now you have that underlying tone there, and of course on Nikki's side. You have Alexa Bliss becoming crazier and crazier and finally pulling off some Sister Abigail's on Nikki and Lacey the week after. So now you have Nikki potentially maybe going towards that and dealing with Alexa Bliss, who is slowly going to become, I guess, literally Sister Abigail. I don't know, but Alexa's gone completely mad. So this kind of feels like, in a sense, it kind of feels thrown together only because it's their individual stories that I feel like are way more interesting than the match itself. So that's why I'm gonna pick Bailey, because you have Sasha on standby, and if WWE, again, with WWE's passion to hate long-term booking, I presume, given that I think next month is Hell in a Cell, that's where they finally blow off their steam. Which is unfortunate because, like I said, I would have preferred the Royal Rumble, but it looks like that's the direction that they're going in, and Nikki is just probably going to deal with Alexa from there. So I'm going to go with Bailey. RJ?
Yeah, so Bailey's held the title for far too long to just lose it right now to Nikki Cross, no matter what the storylines are. I mean, the Fatal 4-Way match that they had on SmackDown, every single one of those ladies has faced Bailey for that belt before, so like we do need to get to this Sasha feud because I think Bailey's starting to hurt for some challengers. Nonetheless, I had a point that I was going to say, but I lost it. Nonetheless, I'm going with Bailey. They're obviously going to go into Sasha. I feel like they might do the Hell in a Cell thing and try and have the female or the women's title match on SmackDown in the Hell in a Cell, maybe to main event it like they did with Charlotte and Sasha back in the day. So I do think that they got to go with Bailey here, because there's no way she's losing this title to Nikki Cross.
The timing is just
holding it. Has she had it for a year yet?
Yeah,
coming up over a year.
Oh,
yeah. Well over a year. Yeah.
Well, it depends because she lost it for 1 week to Charlotte in the middle, so I can't remember exactly when that was.
Oh yeah,
I'm looking up. Pete, you can go with your point. I'll look it up.
That was the one thing I was gonna say, is because they did actually build up for Bailey to maybe win the title off of Charlotte that 1 year at WrestleMania, and then she won it at Fastlane or something. So maybe I'm wrong. That was the point I was going to make, is that Bailey has had this title for far too long to lose it, but maybe they just said, lose it. Sasha and Bailey don't need the title. But if Nikki Cross wins via DQ, that's a Nikki win, right?
Technically, yeah.
Yeah, technically.
I'm still going to go with Bailey.
It's way more likely Bailey would win by DQ because that's true. Sasha attacking her. And Sasha,
I was thinking maybe Alexa
attack Nikki, yeah.
But anyway, I'm still going with Bailey to win, just straight up. But I, just in case, if Nikki wins via DQ, I just wanted to know what the ruling was.
Yeah,
DQ. If the person gets disqualified, the person who gets disqualified will get the win. So you're all.
The person who gets disqualified will lose the match.
Yes, that's what I meant. Yeah. What I'm trying to say is that while you're picking,
just take Bailey, guys.
Yeah. What I'm saying is while for the most part we pick for a pin or submission victory for the person. If somebody else
if Nikki wins by disqualification, the point would have gone if you pick Nikki Cross. There you go.
Yes.
Title doesn't need to change hands really. For
yes.
And
to RJ's point, Bailey did win her SmackDown Championship at Money in the Bank when she cashed in the night she won it, and then Charlotte took it off her at Hell in a Cell, and then literally 5 days later was when Bailey took it again, which was October 11th. Yeah. So we are very close to the year. So you're just a bit short of the year, but technically, if you want to If you want to forget that little Charlotte reign, yeah, it's been more than a year, way more than a year. Pete.
Yeah, I think Jose summed it up pretty well. I'm interested in Bayley versus Sasha because, of course, I am. I thought that turn was excellent. I thought it was at the wrong time, but I thought the turn was still excellent. And yeah, I'm glad she kind of attacked her post-match. I really do hope Sasha versus Bayley is not going to be a Hell in a Cell, but it probably is.
Most likely.
Like, it probably is. Sasha's probably coming back post-match, going to attack her, and then we're going to have Hell in a Cell in next month. And I'm going to be sad when that happens, but whatever. Jose's continued optimism that it's going to last till the Rumble. This was entirely the wrong time to do it if it was going to last till the Rumble.
Yeah.
Like, it's just that slightly too long, like 4 or 5 months is just a little bit too long to keep someone off TV, like purposefully.
It's happened before.
Yeah, but usually from injury.
Yeah.
It's kind of rather than storyline.
You could have kayfabe injured her, you know.
Exactly, but they don't. If they have star power, they don't leave them off TV.
The chair, you know, The Undertaker 2004. You know, they had the chair on the neck, you know, stepped on the chair. Oh my God.
I was optimistic that they were doing the same thing too.
I was just saying, star power nowadays, like injuries, they go off TV for like a month.
Yeah.
They're going to want a women's cell match too. And I feel like this is the obvious direction for that.
Well, that's exactly why I thought as soon as they did it. But even then, couldn't the turn have come so much earlier? I don't know. Like, you could have carried this on till Hell in a Cell. Like, if you'd done the turn, built it till SummerSlam, had the main blow off at SummerSlam, and then down the line you could have had a rematch at Hell in a Cell, and that would have been fine. But
see, you know what the weird thing is? Hell in a Cell is also one of those matches where your story does end. Its history is only for like,
which is why
you just randomly have any match because
sorry, Adrian, go.
Which is why it shouldn't be a pay-per-view, though. It should just be a match that is used like at
don't get me wrong. Hold on.
Not like, Hell in a Cell's coming up, so we got to turn Bayley.
Yeah, exactly. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. What I was gonna say was, yes, before the pay-per-view, before the match type was watered down by the introduction of the pay-per-view, you know, this match technically was a hit button in case of emergency or break glass in case of emergency, right? So despite that, yes, it's been watered down to the pay-per-view that we know today. It's still that fitting conclusion between the two in a weird sense, because Sasha got brutally attacked. It was something we've been waiting for a long time. Like RJ said, I hate it as well that it's a pay-per-view. I'm not a fan. I'm furious. You know, Elimination Chamber, TLC, Hell in a Cell, they can all kiss my ass. It's just so I hate it.
A Hell in a Cell match between them is right. It just shouldn't be 1 month after they turn.
Exactly, and that's why it bugs me. I mean, like I like the over the top fantasy scenario would be Sasha to win the Royal Rumble, and because of how long this two has been going, have a Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania. That would be one hell of a story.
Like, but yeah, Hell in a Cell
do that anymore though.
I was going to say Hell in a Cell and TLC both need to disappear.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Elimination Chamber, I still think serves a purpose, almost like a number one contenders match for Mania. I'm okay
with the Chamber. Yeah.
And I'm fine with Money in the Bank as well. I'm fine with those two.
Yeah, no, Money in the Bank. I'm definitely fine with. Money in the Bank, I think, is the right call. Elimination Chamber, again, that was also another break glass in case of emergency, because it was only created when, like, you know, you had so many guys go absolutely crazy and they can't decide on anything, and boom, throw them into the chamber. Oh God, that sounds so wrong.
But I kind of liked when it became the Royal Rumble guy picks his champion, and then the other number one contender is determined through the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, I like how they kind of use it like that now.
Yeah, I like when they do that. I don't like when it's like, oh, we're going to randomly have the Intercontinental title in Elimination Chamber for no reason this time. I don't like that.
Yeah.
So anyways, back to pick. Yes.
Like I said, I care about Bayley versus Sasha. I care about what's going on with Alexa Bliss. I do not give any craps whatsoever about Bayley versus Nikki Cross. And I saw like a start, and I don't know whether this is check. I'm not going to go back and check. I don't have time for that. But someone told me that in the last 12 months, Bayley and Nikki Cross have been opponents in a match 24 times. Like, including tag matches, including other stuff.
Really?
But on TV, apparently in the last 12 months, they've faced
off. Well, they had the tag titles, so they would have faced, and then, like...
Yeah. Apparently, they've faced each other 24 times. I don't know whether that's true.
Doesn't feel like it.
It honestly does feel like that, to be honest. I'm so drained. I'm so drained of Bayley versus Nikki Cross. I just cannot be bothered with it. Does anyone remember Justice for Naomi? That lasted like 2 weeks. That would have been fine. We could have had Naomi in
good times.
Could have had Naomi in the title match here. Yeah, it's happened before, but a hell of a lot less than this has happened. I don't care about it. Bailey's obviously winning. She's not dropping the belt, as everyone said. It's just such a filler match, and I feel sorry for Nikki Cross because it's just like, yeah, we're going to drop you out of Bailey. Oh, we'll give you a bit. Sorry, then we'll drop you out of Bailey, and we'll give you a little bit more, and then we'll drop you out of Bailey, because that's all we can do with you, and we don't care. And I just don't need Bailey versus Nikki Cross again. No.
If there's one issue that I think everybody knows is that just in general, WWE has really bad issues with booking in the last few years. This is just,
but some storylines
they can nail it.
They can, but for the most part, it's a swing and a miss.
And that's why it's so disappointing.
On the 2 matches left on this card, I can say they've done pretty well.
Yeah.
All the undercard is.
They just have to care about these other matches, like even just a little bit, to make me care. Like they just have to care instead of being like, oh, here's a fatal or triple threat tag team match to determine the number one contender that we're having in like 4 days. There you go.
Yeah.
No, you guys are right. Let's move on to the
in that triple threat match that we basically split up the week before.
And one of them is Rey Mysterio's son and Humberto Carrillo.
Yeah, that was just so random. And
I thought they were gonna win, to be honest with you. But anyway. Straight going off track.
Honestly, I'm more interested in what's gonna happen with Mysterio's daughter and Rollins. That's something to keep an eye on.
No, Mysterio's daughter and Buddy Murphy are definitely going at it.
Getting it on.
That is 100% the storyline. She likes a bit of that down under.
Oh God! Let's move on to the first of the two main titles. It is the Universal Championship. Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman taking on Jey Uso. Nick, it is Jey Uso that has got the championship opportunity.
Get it right.
Honestly, if they swapped, would you notice?
I still to this. I think they're the only pair of twins in my life that I've seen that I cannot differentiate.
You got to figure out the tattoos.
Is it the tattoos?
Akam and Reza aren't even twins. I couldn't differentiate.
I know. They're not even related.
Not even related. I could not tell.
Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, and of course we didn't do the payback predictions because we were focused on All Out, and of course on payback, Roman Reigns becoming Universal Champion, pairing up with Paul Heyman. Everybody loves it. I love it. I'm a big fan. Of course, somebody on Twitter was already proclaimed that he's already the best champion in wrestling today, which made me want to slap the guy because no, he's not.
The best world champion. He didn't even say today. He just said the best
world champion. Yeah. So which means this Roman Reigns is officially better than Stone Cold, The Rock, Goldberg, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels. I can go on.
Roman has those fans on Twitter though. Like he's got the ones that are going to progress.
I know, but of course
proclaim him as the greatest.
Of course, it doesn't help when you have bloggers like Daily DDT agreeing with him. Like, yeah, 100%, he's right. I'm like, no, children, calm down. I like Roman.
It's good to be the best world champion in wrestling.
Like, I love where Roman is. Don't get me wrong. Just no. And of course, there was a fatal 4-way for the Universal for the number one contendership for the Universal Championship, and a surprising outcome between Matt Riddle, Sheamus, and King Corbin. It's Jey Uso of all people. The storyline is intriguing. You know, they do have the family history. Heyman bringing that up, and of course they grew up together. Legitimately, they are cousins, so it does make for some intriguing television for the most part. But if you were to tell me that Jey Uso was to win this match, I would be laughing in your face because there was no way in hell. And like Jey, somebody who was essentially a mid-carder his entire career, all of a sudden becomes champion. I know we've seen it with Jinder Mahal. Doesn't mean it was right.
Otis is Mr. Money in the Bank. So.
and Otis is Mr. Money in the Bank. Yes.
Remember Jose saying that if anybody picks Seth Rollins to win this match, they're an idiot.
That's true.
Are you sure you want to go down that route again?
Yes, I am picking Roman Reigns.
Yeah, but you sure you want to be that confident?
Yes. This one I'm going to be confident in. This one, I guarantee that Roman Reigns is winning this match. Roman is winning this match. Come on, guys. Like it's Jey Uso. And like
I'm kind of pulling for him.
Sure, it's a nice underdog story, but can you really
Perfect underdog story?
It's a beautiful underdog story, but can you really believe the fact that somebody who just paired up with one of the greatest managers in wrestling history all of a sudden loses his first defense?
Yeah, and then he goes off on the absolute mad streak and gets so angry about losing to Jey Uso that he starts going even more heel, more brutal until he wins it back at Hell in a Cell.
Kill Paul Heyman too.
Yeah. Like he's not going to kill Paul Heyman, but he's going to kill everyone else because he lost his belt. Just makes sense.
I don't like how good that sounds. I don't like it. Nope. I don't like it. Pete.
Yeah, I'm going with Jay.
Are you serious?
No, I'll go Roman.
I would have respected it, man. I would have been like, yeah.
I would have respected it as well.
Yeah, I can't bring myself to do it. I can't.
Exactly.
No,
exactly. Be a man. Be a man.
It is obvious Roman Reigns is winning this match. And honestly, I thought that showing a live murder on TV in the United States would probably be illegal, but apparently they're going to do it. that is what is going to happen here. Roman Reigns is going to murder Jey Uso. He's going to absolutely kill him in about 5 minutes. And then post-match, he's going to kill him more. He is going to destroy him. He's going to rip his head from his shoulders. He's going to rip him limb from limb. And he is going to brutalize Jey Uso within an inch of his life, cementing himself as a big bad heel in the process because he's turned his back on his family because of the belt. And it just makes sense. Of course, Roman Reigns is winning. Of course, he's going to dominate this match. It's the perfect opponent to do it with. Yeah, great stuff. Jey Uso is going to sell his ass off for Roman Reigns here.
In that 5 minutes, does Jay get any offense in, or is it just getting ragged
I reckon
off?
he might get one. I think he might get one super kick in, and then Roman Reigns will half sell it. So like he'll like rebound in the corner and then almost like come back straight into a Superman punch or a spear out of it.
That sounds right.
I think that's about the offense he's going to get in. It's going to be a glorified squash would be the word for it.
RJ, are you gonna have the audacity to pick Jay?
No, I actually kind of would like. I mean, I didn't even know if I would like to see him win because the obvious progression in the story makes no sense if he wins. As much as I'm like sort of rooting for underdog Jay, and I probably will on that night, just like I kind of did for James Ellsworth when he almost beat AJ Styles, and I kind of fell for it. It doesn't make any sense, and I don't actually want it to happen, but I could see myself falling into the rooting for the underdog on Sunday and wanting Jay to win if he actually gets any sort of offense in whatsoever, because I don't actually see that happening. I'm not even sure if this gets 5 minutes or if Roman just beats him to a bloody pulp in like 2.5 minutes and then just keeps whipping him around, or if he just, goes for 2 counts and lifts his head up and then just spears him again and then just does that for like 5 minutes. I don't know how it's going to happen, but it's not going to be pretty and it's going to be fantastic. This is, I don't want to say the only time, but this is by far the most I've been invested in Roman Reigns. I wasn't a huge fan, obviously, but I can see the talent and I obviously see the character going in a very good direction for him, one that he desperately needed. Heyman is an amazing pairing for him. This is gonna be good, and I kind of want to see Jay put up a bit of a fight, but I do think for the overall story, if we see Roman just absolutely just tear him apart, it's gonna be the best for him.
Can we also? Yeah,
Roman in like 2 minutes.
Yeah. Can you also just kind of mention how good Roman's facial expression was on SmackDown?
Yes, absolutely.
When he was basically like smirking and joyous and stuff, and then as soon as Jey walked past it just went.
And so also when Jay raises his hand with the belt, Roman's like, "What are you doing now?"
Yeah.
Like, so Roman's obviously starting to grow on me, and I think this is a very good character for him, and I'm excited to see where he goes with this character.
It feels like it's overdue for Roman. I love the position that he's in. I know a lot of people are even still wondering if like he can. I mean, there are people out there that think that Roman's career is just buried and it's just not good just because of the booking. But I'm like, look at the position he's in now. This is I know you could say it's like years later or whatever, but it doesn't mean that it's like, what was that expression? Better late than ever. So this is for me, this is where I want to see Roman. And I think, like I said, just the first month already with the situation, the first impressions are just astronomical. They're so good. I love it. And I'm very happy for Roman to be in the spot, and I hope that this can build up into something pretty damn good as time goes on, and I think it will. Will it be a lengthy reign? I guess it depends on who Roman faces, but I think it has the potential to be long. I don't know how long, but this is the right
I think it
person.
goes to Mania.
I think until fans come back, really. I think they're utilizing this like pandemic kind of era to test the waters with this heel character.
Absolutely. And like, don't get me wrong. I mean, Pete, I was legitimately gonna say Mania, but I'm like, maybe that's just too long. But you're actually it's not out of the question.
Is it long enough? Like, I don't even know.
That would be mine. I think it's the minimum it's going is till Mania. Like, I think he's getting at least 8 months, like 7-8 months with that belt.
There's potential. There's potential. Of course, we are 187 days away from WrestleMania, so we have a long way to go, but it's doable. I think it's doable. It's not like, and I mean, like, if you have Drew holding on the title for that long, I mean, I'm sure it's been longer than 187 right now for Bailey. So it's not.
Bailey. I thought you said for Drew there. I was going to say.
No, I'm saying for Drew. Like, it's like, no, Drew is like what? Drew is more than half a year.
He's had it WrestleMania for like 5 months.
That's what I'm saying. Is we're basically gonna be. I mean, of course, depending on how we predict, or depending on what happens this Sunday. But I'm just saying, WrestleMania probably not out of the question for Roman. And personally, I would be okay with it. I wouldn't be mad. I think
it has to happen.
This is one of those times with Roman that you're like, I know for the most part in the past you want to see Roman lose the title right away, or nobody wanted that long reign with Roman because they were just dreading the booking and whatnot. But this. Okay.
Yeah. Nobody wanted to face Roman holding that title, but everybody wants heel Roman holding.
But heel Roman, I'm all for.
Everybody wants to see heel Roman keep the belt. It just makes perfect sense how like logical everything is in the world. Yeah, my dream scenario is still he holds it till Mania. Edge comes back, wins the Royal Rumble. Edge versus Roman at Mania. Spear versus Spear. The actual match, Spear versus Spear that people want to see, not the Goldberg one.
Well, Nick may disagree with you there because, we're going to move on to the most likely will be the main event of Clash of Champions. It is the WWE Championship, Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton in an ambulance match. That is the first ambulance match since 2016. Originally, I thought it was like years before that, but after looking up at some stats, yes, it's the first one in about 4 years, I believe, just over 4 years. Braun versus Reigns. Thank you, Pete. And of course, Nick was saying in his predictions that he's assuming Randy wins because this is where Randy starts his reign to WrestleMania and for Edge to come back to win the 2021 Royal Rumble. This one is a bit tough. Of course, the reason why we're getting an ambulance match is because Seth Rollins, Randy Orton punted Drew's head 3 times and on the same night, which of course is pretty bad. Leaves it in an ambulance, comes back in an ambulance the next week. Somehow that leads to boom, it's an ambulance match. So I like Pete's points about keeping the title on Drew so we can get the Spear versus Spear match, but I also like
that's irrelevant. The Spear versus Spear is Edge going to SmackDown. Like Drew can still.
Oh, you're right. Sorry.
I think Jose means that if Edge wins the Rumble, it's not to face Orton; it would be to face Drew. I feel like that's where you.
That's what I was trying to say.
Wouldn't that be a good swerve though? If Orton is the champion, Edge wins the Rumble and still goes to pick Roman Reigns. Be a nice little swerve.
I really hope that Edge doesn't win the Rumble just to face Randy Orton again.
Yeah,
I want to get that out of the way right now. As much as I think that Nick's prediction is possible, I effing hope they don't do that. Pardon my bleep.
We lifted the censors weeks ago, buddy. You're good, dog. So I'm gonna make my pick, and it's weird because I feel like somewhat or their mindset with the Street Profits, maybe it's time, but I don't know. I do, like I said, I personally still like Drew as champion, so I'm going to go with Drew to retain the WWE Championship. I know. I guess I really like the title on him. I think it works. I know some people already beginning to argue that Drew isn't like the strongest champion that people think.
He's great.
I think he's been phenomenal, and it's like I know some people argue like, oh, he doesn't move, he doesn't push your ratings, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that, but I'm like, pandemic. Think about the pandemic.
Unspoken times right now. Like,
yeah. So I'm gonna go with Drew because I just kind of want to see this. Going. RJ?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Drew too. I think they might have Drew and Roman hold the titles for a while because those are like the 1A, 1B guys they want in the company right now. So they want some nice long good reigns for them. So I think that they're both going to hold the titles for a decent amount of time. I kind of understand where Nick was coming from saying that this could be Orton because the ambulance match can kind of make Drew still look strong. But I'm going to say the flip side of that is I don't think they like to make their big guys lose ambulance matches just because, like, I know they can use a stipulation to make it seem like it's not weak. But, like, Cena never lost those because he didn't want to get, like, pushed off in an ambulance or something like that. So I just don't see Drew losing this stipulation of a match personally. I feel like if they wanted to kind of make it seem like he wasn't weak, they would have done like a tables match or something like that. I just think that the ambulance match kind of makes it seem like Drew wins, in my opinion. So I'm going to go with Drew. I don't see him losing the title, and I'm pretty confident about it, although I think I picked Randy last time they went against each other. But I think I'm pretty confident Drew wins this one.
Pete?
Yeah, just going to bring back one quick point there. I don't want to see Randy Orton versus Edge again. I think I want it to be done.
Yeah, I'm done with it.
Feud. Yeah, I think it ended perfect. Well, obviously didn't end perfectly in an injury, but ended up with like a fantastic match, etc. And when Edge comes back, we don't know how long Edge has got left, and I'd rather see him now go on to face other people he can if or when he comes back. This match I've been so on the fence about. I've gone back and forth and back and forward, and I've started to try just pull some kind of logic from somewhere into my pick, and my logic has come from Survivor Series. And I'm assuming they go back to the brand versus brand or brand versus brand versus brand. And I think Reigns is still going to have that belt. And I don't think they'll want to do Reigns versus Orton. I don't think that makes any sense to me. And I don't think they'd want to do Reigns versus Orton versus Balor either, because that just seems too many heels.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Drew versus Roman makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, really good too.
Drew versus Roman, Drew versus Orton versus Drew versus Balor versus Roman. Like those matches to me make a lot more sense in terms of that.
Definitely.
And then I actually went, I think this could be a draw. So I genuinely considered picking a draw, no contest, no winner here, and something like Retribution gets involved, attacks, beats down both, and throws them both in the back of the ambulance.
Oh, okay.
And I could have saw something like that happening.
Maybe Keith Lee could get involved and do something like that too.
Yeah.
Keith Lee is revealed as the leader of Retribution.
I think that's almost too big of a heel move, and I don't think they're going to do that.
Yeah, way too big.
Unless they do want to do it and want to turn him heel, etc. And him and Dijakovic obviously go way back, and there's history there.
Mia Yim is in the group. It makes sense. Yeah,
obviously. But Keith Lee would then have to change his name to, I don't know, Pop Can. Orton stood tall as well. This is an ambulance match. Ambulance match is a stupid match. Any match where you have to put someone in something to win the match is a stupid match. This type of match, a casket match, whatever. So I want to see a stupid finish. And there's two ways I want to see this go, and I'm going to say Drew.
And you're sticking with Drew's your pick?
I'm going with Daddy Drew because I can't turn against Daddy Drew. He's still my guy. He still has my heart. I'm still with him. I'm still going all the way with Daddy Drew. But I want either one of these two things to happen. One a bit more realistic than the other, I'll be honest. I want either Drew to be like knelt down in front of the ambulance and Orton go for the punt kick. Drew duck out of the way and him literally just kick the front of the ambulance, trip over and fall straight into the ambulance. So that's my one way of winning it. So basically, just Drew dodges the punt kick and Orton sends himself straight. A bit like the spear with Roman, where he went to spear Braun and Braun just kind of like stepped out of the way and just watched Roman.
Just so outrageous. Just so much momentum.
It was that kind of beautiful. The other one I really wanted to see, which I'm never going to do in a million years, but I would love, just because it's such a stupid match. Do you know like the retractable wires that like stuntmen use, where they get like blown up and they go flying off back?
Yeah.
So I want one of them to secretly attach it at the back of Randy Orton during the match to the ambulance. And then from about 10 meters away, Drew just runs up, Claymore kicks him, and Orton just goes flying, propels himself like 10 or 15 meters straight into
my God.
And just pulls him in this glorious moment of just Drew McIntyre having kicked a guy like across the stage into the ambulance.
To be fair, they had Baron Corbin throw dudes off a roof, so I mean, like, this doesn't seem too out of like the realm of possibility.
I wanted to make it kayfabe possible that Drew McIntyre can kick a guy 20 meters. That's what I want in this match. So I'll go Drew McIntyre in the hope that that's the finish.
All right. Well, God, that'd be hilarious. So with Nick picking Randy, of course, just in case, I always do these just in case because it's you never know if something can happen. But
actually differed.
Did we?
All right, so we're in a
different?
tiebreaker situation. We are in a tiebreaker situation. No, you two are
exactly the same picks.
You two are carbon copies. So it's either Nick and I can just come out of nowhere and win this thing with one of the differences, or you two tie. So let's go into tiebreaker situation here. I'm going to go for it's the length of the ambulance match, length of the WWE Championship match. I'm gonna go with 23-51. Feels like a good number there. RJ?
Yeah, this is gonna have to have some time with it because I think there's gonna be some squashy matches on this card. Yeah, especially the main. I'm assuming the Universal title is gonna be the main event. This could be the main event, but I don't really know.
No way. I think this closes.
Roman said it was the main event on SmackDown.
I think Roman closes.
I think Roman closes too. I definitely think Roman closes. Anyway, I mean, it could go either way. I think if Roman just squashes Jay and then closes the show like I'm a new badass dick, I think that might be a good finish. Especially, but I could also see them finish
post-match kill Jey Uso segment of him absolutely murdering Jey Uso, and then just like 3 or 4 minutes at the end of the show of just him laying into Jey Uso spear after spear through the barricade, through the table, whatever the hell you want to do. Just let him lay him out, and I think that would be a great end to the show. And it's Roman Reigns. WWE want to have Roman Reigns as their big picture ending person at the top of like everything. So
that's true.
Yeah.
RJ, your time?
Anyway, to my time, I do think that because the Universal title match is going to be quite short, I think this one could go upwards of 30 minutes. I'm going to say, especially because it's so gimmicky, I think I'm going to call it, I'm just going to go 30-01.
30-01. Wow, that's a huge 7-minute difference between RJ and I. Pete?
I really, really want to pick 30 minutes flat now. Just take the under. But I'm not that man. I'm not as bad as Jose. I'm going to stick with my original one. I did have it written down already. I'm going with 25-42. Don't know why, but I've gone with 25-42. I think it's going to have a moderate amount of time. I don't think they're going to go over 30 minutes on that type of gimmick match. I think they're going to spend about 5-10 minutes in the ring beating each other up. Then they're going to go to the stage, spend another 10-15 minutes around the ambulance, throwing each other into it, etc. And then some kind of finish. So about 25 minutes sounds about right for me.
All right. And of course,
30 flat.
Of course, Nick did not submit his time in the tiebreak, so I will have to contact him and get it to you guys at the following the discussion, which of course with you guys I'll tell you guys immediately once he gets his pick in. But that is that. This should I think it's gonna be an interesting card. I feel a little bit more intrigued to this than as opposed to SummerSlam for the most part, but
I've been saying all week that, or like last couple of weeks, that I'm excited for this card. I don't know if that's because of the 3 matches at the end is why I'm so excited, and I just like want to see the ladder match, and I want to see the ambulance match, and I want to see the live murder.
Yeah, I think it's a very mixed bag for me.
So I like the upper echelon matches. The rest of it might be mediocre, but I mean, we could see a good match out of the Street Profits and on Andrade and Garza. We could see a decent tag team women's title match. Like, it's possible, but yeah, I like the card, even if the build-up's not incredible.
And I don't think I'm going to be champion again. Still waiting. So that draw's going to continue for another month.
He keeps getting a shot every single time.
To what?
So he keeps giving himself a title shot. He loses every time, and he keeps.
Hate to see it, huh? Hate to see it. Well, gentlemen, thank you as always for coming on. Like I said, it should be exciting. And as always, let's get to the closing.
Bye.
You made it to the end of the episode. You made it to the end. Let's take a look at that predictions chart one more time. For the U.S. title, I'm the only one that picked Apollo like an idiot. For the Raw tag team, Nick is the only one that picked the Street Profits. We all went Cesaro and Nakamura. We all went Nia and Shayna. Everybody but myself picked Sami Zayn, as I picked Jeff Hardy. For the Intercontinental ladder match, we all went with Bayley. We all went with Roman. Everybody but Nick picked Drew, as he picked Randy Orton for the WWE title. And the tiebreaker, which is the WWE title match, I went with 23 minutes and 51 seconds, RJ 30-01, Pete 25-42, and Nick went with 21-24. And as always, any matches added on to the main card after the fact will be predicted, and we will update you guys on social media. Any matches that are pushed to the kickoff show will not be, so we'll see what happens there. And of course, I'm banking that the US title goes on the kickoff. Probably won't happen, but it should be an interesting pay-per-view. I know for the most part, when it comes to these kind of matches with like the lack of build on a pay-per-view, on a WWE pay-per-view, I should say, they end up not being too bad, and which makes for a solid show. So we'll see what happens this Sunday, but I'm excited for, again, a decent portion of the card. So like the ladder match I can't wait for. The ambulance match should be something else. Regardless, we'll see what happens. And as always, all I can say is just that is that. Thank you so much for watching. Become a patron, help support the podcast, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us here on YouTube. I'm Jose Taboada. Enjoy Clash of Champions. We will see you guys next week. Have a great one. Bye.